Welcome and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
You can always tell when Stephen's here, can't you? I am Katie Cartman, the Director of Religious Education here at Emerson Unitarian Universalist Church in Houston, Texas. Our beloved community of faith, reason, and affection welcomes all to grow in mind and spirit as together we build a better world. If you are joining us for the first time this morning, either here in the pews or checking out the YouTube, we extend a special welcome to you and invite you to fill out our visitor card, which is yellow in the pews, but is a link on the YouTube. That way you can receive more information about Emerson and our activities. Again, welcome to all. We are a church in many places. Some of us here in the pews, and some joining from YouTube at home or wherever we might be. And our world is a different one than it was in early 2020. Our worship service has changed in a few ways. We're giving people choices in the pews as to how far they'd like to distance from other families and whether or not they would like to continue masking. We've put a few offering baskets at the front and back of the sanctuary, so you can go ahead and drop in those donations whenever you see fit throughout the service. For those of us in the sanctuary this morning, let's take a moment to picture the dozens of friends, neighbors, and those we've not met yet who are taking part in this service on the YouTube, either right now or later in the week as their schedules allow. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones so we don't disturb one another with our rings. And in our pulpit today, we will have, again, the Reverend Ed Proulx, our candidate to be Emerson's That's one way to silence your phone. Don't let the next one be you. Anyway, let's see. In our pulpit today will be the Reverend Ed Proulx, our candidate to be Emerson's next settled minister. He will host a talk back at the conclusion of this service. Then we'll have a brief social hour before the congregational meeting at 12:30. And now for our prelude.
That was beautiful. Thank you. I think I might have drifted off during that. That was so sweet. My name is, as Katie mentioned, my name is Reverend Ed Proulx, and I am the candidate to be the new minister here. For those of you who maybe are attending here for the first time or are just happen to walk in for the first time, you are here on a rather unusual week. You are here when this congregation is in the process of choosing a new minister, which puts you here at an unusual time. I strongly recommend to you, as I recommend to all people who walk into a Unitarian Universalist church for the first time, to come back 7 times if you can do it, because our services change so much from week to week that you really need a wide perspective to be able to decide if this congregation fits into your spiritual journey or not. As we work to create beloved community, we welcome all of you who would join us in this building and build a better world with more love, more justice, and more peace. We welcome all who would join us in growing in heart and mind and spirit, and we welcome all who would join us in tearing down systems of oppression of all kinds. We welcome all who would join their purposes to ours in a loving spirit of right relationships. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on your life's journey, whichever your pronouns you use, whether you've walked in, rolled in, dialed in, or zoomed in, or YouTubed in, whoever you love, whoever you worship, we welcome you here, and you belong here with us. I now invite Julia to deliver today's opening words. Julia?
Our opening words this morning come from Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Garcia Marquez was a Colombian novelist, short story writer, screenwriter, and journalist who lived from 1927 until 2014. He is one of the most significant authors of the 20th century, particularly in the Spanish language. He was awarded the 1972 Neustadt International Prize for Literature and the 1982 Nobel Prize in Literature. This quote comes from his 1985 novel, Love in the Time of Cholera. Human beings are not born once and for all on the day their mothers give birth to them, but life obliges them over and over again to give birth to themselves. I now invite Reverend Ed to give the chalice lighting.
Thank you, Julia. As we gather in community, we look within ourselves and to each other for strength, restoration, and inspiration, so that as we journey together, we catch the spark of the eternal Spirit, and from that spark, we light our chalice flame. Lighting the chalice flame symbolizes to all that the spirit of our congregation is strong, and that our will to transform ourselves and the world is also strong. We light the flame with gratitude. We light the flame in memory of all who have come and gone before, and all who are here now, and with joy for all who are yet to come. I invite Charlie to come forward and light our chalice. And I invite you to join us in saying in unison our chalice lighting words, which this month come from Mexican author Don Miguel Ruiz, who was born in 1952. He was the youngest of 13 children and is best known for his book, The Four Agreements, which is based on ancient Toltec teachings learned from his mother. Would you please read with me as you feel appropriate? Changing the world is not about changing the characters of your story. If you want to change the world, the way to do it is changing the main character of your story, you. And now I invite you to stand as you see fit or sing, but join us, if you will, in singing our first hymn, Gather the Spirit. So our story for all ages this morning is a very old story that I think a lot of you probably know, but I'm going to tell it anyway because it's the only story I have memorized for this morning, so this is what we're going with. So it's a story called The Crow and the Parrot. So there is a crow and a parrot, and they are flying along together. And they see down on the ground a bucket with water in it. And they say to each other, hey, I'm thirsty. Are you thirsty? Yeah, I'm thirsty. So they decide they're going to land on this bucket and drink some of this water. So they land on the bucket. And they're both standing on the edge of the bucket. And the parrot decides, okay, I'm going to drink some of this water. And he bends over. But there's not enough water in the bucket, so he can't reach the water. So he keeps bending over. Now, the secret that you've got to know about the parrot is everybody loves the parrot. The parrot is beautiful. It's got all these different colors on it, and it can talk. It's really cool. The crow is standing there watching the parrot. Parrot keeps going down, can't get to the water. Parrot says, I'm done, and flies off. crow's still standing there looking at the water. Now, what you got to know about the crow is everybody thinks the crow is ugly. It's black, it's kind of scrawny, and it makes weird noise. It goes, ah! It doesn't talk at all. It just kind of screams. Ugh, nobody likes crows, right? But the crow's standing on the side of the water, and the crow looks into the water, and the crow bends down, and the crow can't get the water either. What to do? Well, the parrot just flew off. The crow says, I have an idea. And the crow goes and picks up a pebble, and he puts it in the water. And he does it again, and he does it again, and he does it again. And he keeps doing it. And slowly what happens is the level of the water in the bucket keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And finally, the crow says, I think I can reach the water. And the crow bends down, and he takes all the water he wants. Meanwhile, guess who shows up again? Here comes the parrot. And the crow says, go ahead, have some water. It's for everybody. And the crow bends down, and the parrot bends down, and the parrot gets some water. And the crow and the parrot drink all the water they want, and then they continue flying off together. And that, my friends, is the story of the crow and the parrot. Now, what do you think the moral of the story of the crow and the parrot is? You don't have to say it. I just want you to think about what you think so think about the crow and the parrot and what the crow did and what the parrot did. And that is our time for all ages today. And I don't know. Oh, Katie. All right, Katie.
So he just invited me to come forward to give the offering words. Giving out of what is our own is a transformative act. As a community of faith, we collect an offering, not for ourselves or our congregation, but to give to others as a collective action of our community and as a way to live out our shared values. Please give with a generous heart to support our April Share the Plate recipient, The Amazing Place. This local 501c3 organization works with churches and healthcare communities to train and empower individuals about dementia, Alzheimer's, and caregiving. And the remaining 25% of our offering goes to our ongoing commitment to Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels, feeding Houston seniors. We have not one, not two, but 3 ways you can give. You can go to our website for online giving. You can put your offering in our baskets, or you can mail a check to the church. Children will be heading to class in about a minute and a half. But first, let's listen to a little bit of Sean.
This is clearly a multi-talented congregation. All I happened to do was mention that I like Stevie Wonder at lunch, and next thing you know, Stevie Wonder shows up. Thank you very much, Julia and Sean, for throwing a little Stevie Wonder at me. Please, my friends, find a comfortable place to be in or in your seats, and place your feet, if that's comfortable for you, flat on the floor, if you can and if you will, so that you might feel the ground, feel the vibration of this building, feel the vibration of the earth upon which it sits, and feel more connected. Feel a connection that nourishes and sustains us all. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable in so doing, and take a deep breath as together we enter into a time of meditation and silence. Let us all enter into the silence together. Amen, Ashe, and let it be. I now invite Julia to deliver our second reading. Julia?
This reading comes from Epictetus, who was a Greek Stoic philosopher from 50 to 135 AD. Happiness and freedom begins with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within your control, and some things are not.
rise again, don't we? That's just what we do, isn't it? We've all risen again, haven't we? In one way or another, we've all risen again. Because life, my friends, is a series of normals. You go from one normal to the next normal. And in between, you have these beautiful periods of chaos and unknown, and we hate them. But that's where the growth happens, isn't it? It's that period between the normals when we really grow. Humans are remarkable. They are remarkably adaptable creatures. Every event in our lives, large or small, changes us. It has an impact on us. Some of us, it's a nudge. Sometimes it's a nudge. Sometimes it's a full knock you right off your chair. Right? Most of the time when we change slowly. So very gradually you can barely make out the change. And sometimes we change rapidly. That piece of news that you got, that new job that you got, that arrival of someone new into your life, or the departure of someone loved from your life, and that chaos that happens. These events change us as individuals. These events change us as relationships. They change us as families. They change us as communities. The one constant in life is change. But we build systems to be resistant to change, don't we? We build systems to be immune to change. Change happens all the time, but we build things as though nothing will ever change. We build our lives that way. We dig in. The term is dig in. We dig in personally. We dig in as communities. As I was thinking about today's message, I kept going back to a pastoral letter from the minister of my home congregation, Christina Hockman, the Reverend Christina Hockman, who is the minister in Greenville, South Carolina, my home congregation, my wife and my home congregation. So I thought about this letter and how wonderful it was and how appropriate it was. And I said, well, I just can't read it. I need to change it. I need to make it my own. And then I began to realize that was a complete waste of time. So I'm just going to read the parts that pertain to you. She says other stuff in here. She introduces how's everybody going, right? And then she says this. This is the part about change. And this came from, pieces of this came from the UUA. This is an important message. She says, what are the experts saying about the state of our UU congregations? I'm hearing that our congregations are both low capacity and high anxiety. Does that ring any bells? Is that ringing any bells for you at home? Or for you at work? Or wherever you go? Congregations and their people are still feeling the drag of 2 years of isolation and its associated stressors. Adjusting to major changes in the way we live our lives is stressful. All of this leads to feelings of overwhelm and reluctance to return to the level of energy we experienced pre-pandemic. These conditions are leading to a completely understandable low capacity for all kinds of activity in our congregations. Compounding this situation is the anxiety that comes from realizing that our congregations are not exactly what they used to be. People are asking questions. Where is everyone? Where are the kiddos? Why isn't there as much stuff going on as there used to be? Is our congregation dying? Unfortunately, the low capacity is feeding the high anxiety. Although there is no magical solution, our wise advisors at the UUA Transitions Office invite us to reframe our current situation. They say, understanding that the next normal is not the same as the pre-pandemic normal. This is so important, too much nostalgia is likely to be toxic. Congregations trapped in the past are likely to shrink. This is a time to redefine why people need Unitarian Universalism, where generational differences are going to have to learn to live together, and where new people coming into our congregations will be looking for communities of multi-theological exploration and the desire to make a difference in the world. The next normal will not look like the old normal. It never does, but we so want it to, don't we? Old assumptions about how we do things may no longer be relevant. The next normal is a time for gentle and curious reassessment, exploration, and an opportunity for some fresh starts. It's time to think about what parts of the past are most essential to bring with us into the future and what may need to be let go. And I'm not just talking about the congregation. I'm talking about you, me, my family, your family, all the communities of which you are a part. In this time of low capacity and high anxiety, as we adjust to the next normal, and here she advises that we do things the easy way rather than the hard way. Have you felt that tension to do things the hard way rather than the easy way? Value good enough over perfection. I know that's tough for a lot of you to take. Good enough is not good enough for some of you, right? But maybe right now, good enough is the best we can hope for. It's a time for small successes rather than ginormous back-breaking projects like, I don't know, calling a new minister. It's a time to be gentle with one another. We are all adjusting to the next new normal. Instead of getting hijacked by anxiety over our collective depleted state, let us remember why we're here in the first place: to grow, to care for each other, and to help make the world a better place. Boom. And that's my friend, Reverend Christina Hockman from Greenville, South Carolina. And that is an important message. Isn't it an important message? We all know it, but at times like this, we need someone to say it to us. And she said it so well. So while I was thinking about this message, I want to let you know that I had a religious experience. Out of all places, church. Go figure. I was at church at a function, at an RE function, and I wasn't even there as the minister. I wasn't leading it. I was running the tech, actually. That's what I was doing, and I was unlocking and locking the doors. And I had a religious experience right there on a Thursday night in this little congregation in Palm Beach, Florida. On that night, 20 of us gathered to hear two members who had become experts on Alzheimer's disease. These two became experts on Alzheimer's disease for the worst reason possible. One of them contracted Alzheimer's. And they started a foundation, and they were doing a lot of education. Now, in this Thursday night, there was a lot of biology, there was a lot of pharmacology, there was a lot of talk about proteins attaching themselves to things, and there was a lot of talk about government policy, but that wasn't where I got my religious experience, because mixed in there with all that other stuff was an experience that brought me back to my roots. When they were talking about their lives after the diagnosis, they said this. They said, we made the choice to live life with more joy, more courage, and more passion. They said that. They actually said that. After receiving the Alzheimer's diagnosis, they made the choice to live their life with more joy, more courage, and more compassion. I don't know about you, and I've never gotten such a grave diagnosis, but I imagine that if I were to receive a grave diagnosis, I don't think living life with more joy, more compassion, and more courage would have been the first thing on my list of things to do. But that was their choice, and that's what they did. And I was so enthusiastic, and I was so spiritually connected to them in that moment, because it caused me to remember that joy, compassion, and courage start with a choice. Everything starts with a choice, doesn't it? In a way, in a lot of ways. Everything starts with a choice. Picture George Washington standing on the front of that boat, crossing the Delaware in the snow. That came after a choice. He made the choice that that's what they were going to do. And you can picture yourselves in all the choices that you've made, because that's what life is. Life is a series of new normals, and those new normals always in that chaos period, that period we all hate, that comes with choices. Greatness is a choice. It was a choice on your part to find an interminister. You didn't have to do that, but you did. You went out and you found Reverend Michelle. It was a choice to work with Reverend Michelle on what you perceived was holding you back. That was a choice. Greatness starts with a choice. It does not start with being great. It starts by deciding that you are great, or right now, in this time, that you're great enough. Let me ask you a question. Are you ready to decide that you are great? One yes. Let's try that again. Let me ask you a question. Are you ready to decide that you are great? Yes. There we go. My religious experience reminded me that greatness is a choice. Personal greatness, family greatness, community greatness, and you get to define greatness. There's no greatness judge, at least not in Unitarian Universalism. There's no greatness judge, right? You get to define your greatness as great as you can be. And underlying that greatness, underlying your joy, underlying your courage, underlying your passion, and underlying that greatness, all of that rests on a foundation of love. Love for yourself, love for each other, and love for this place. I've only been with you, folks, for a very short time, and I've enjoyed my time here with you all. And I think I can feel it. I think I can feel that there is love here. But let me ask you a question. Do you feel that love of this community here in this room? Do you feel the love amongst friends? Do you feel the love that will form the foundation of your greatness? Yes. Then the hard part, my friends, is done. That's the hard part. If you don't have that, none of the rest of it matters. You have to start with a basis of love. From the basis of love, everything else is possible. The hard part was done for you, and it was done with you by those who came before. This isn't the first moment you've had love together. It's been here for a while, I suspect. The future, a future that rests on this foundation of love. I'm going to ask you 3 more questions. Are you ready? Are you ready to build that future together? Yes. Are you ready to live that future together? Yes. And are you, most importantly, are you ready to be that future? Yes. So let me hear you sing out. Let's sing this song together. Let's sing this song as a commitment to building that future. The second hymn, which is Build a New Way.
Build a new land. We'll build a land.
We'll build it.
Dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land.
No, I'm Charlie.
Oh, Charlie.
Come on, brother. Oh, come on, I get you. Oh, am I supposed to do this? Actually get it right. Sorry, dude. I think I'm supposed to do that. But you do a better job at it anyway, so we'll just go with you. Thank you, Charlie. Our closing words this morning come from someone you might have heard of. You all can, if you want. Our 44th president, President Barack Obama. Here he is talking about change. Fear, uncertainty, and discomfort are your compasses toward growth. If you run, you stand a chance of losing. But if you don't run, you've already lost. May you, in the course of your week, be more and more aware of the communities of which you are a part. May you be more and more aware of your part in those communities. May you be more and more aware of how those communities co-create your journey with you. And may you be more and more aware of how you co-create their journeys with them. And now we have some special announcements.
So today we have our congregational meeting at 12:30. So just a brief break today, not full social time, but I hear there may be cake after the meeting. And childcare will continue until 1:15 today. And now an announcement from our auction committee.
Thumbs up. We will be doing a talk back. So if you want to go grab coffee between now and the congregational meeting, you can. Or if you'd rather stay here and do a talk back, the choice is yours. Whoop.
Reverend Ed, were you trying to say something?
We had a musical number, sorry.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay. Here's the good news, folks. This is the last auction announcement that you will hear from the lectern this spring. And why? Because the auction's this Saturday. Actually, it's all good news today. First, the online silent auction is underway with dozens of great items to bid on and more items being added every day up until Thursday. So keep checking. How do you bid? As in the past years, we are on 32auctions.com, and there's a little trick to get to it. You then need to put /Emerson 2023. I think some of you have been having trouble with that. So come see me afterwards, and we're sending out an email on Tuesday, so you'll have that in writing. Let's see. I know we usually look to get a bargain with the services auction, but this year the operating budget and I would greatly appreciate that you bid what you can, not the least that you can. So please keep that in mind. And let me see a quick show of hands of how many think you might attend in person on Saturday. Raise your hand. Great, that's wonderful. Unfortunately, only 17 of you registered as of this morning. So if the rest of you want to have some food and drinks when you show up, we need to get a good head count. So the concept of I need to buy a ticket is really going on to 32 auctions. The first items are your admission tickets. So if you would just go ahead and take care of that. If you have any questions, contact me. And I'll be outside this afternoon after service. And let's see. I know also the software can be a little challenging, so let me give you a little hint. Sometimes when you click on something, it'll say buy now. So you click on that. Then it says purchase. But you click on that, but you don't actually have to pay right then, even though the next screen makes it look like you have to. If you scroll all the way down, it'll say return to auction. So you don't have to, you can go back to browsing and wait to pay until after the live auction ends next Saturday if you want. You'll get an invoice eventually. And you can run, but you can't hide. And there's also a function called proxy where you set the parameters in the system to bid in your absence. So like if you can't be here next Saturday, I won't take that as an excuse for you not participating. And I can tell you more about that outside. Next Saturday evening celebration promises great food, beverages, fun for all, music, entertainment. Doors open at 5:30 with time to get your final bids in for the online/silent auction. Dining begins about 6 and the live auction will get underway around 6:30. So come be a part of Emerson's biggest, funnest fundraiser of the year. Tickets for the evening are only $10 and $20 will get the whole family in, and that helps cover some of our costs. Stop by Celebration Central, which is right outside the doors, to get registered and get answers to all your questions, especially.
Hey, Carol,
Yes, Steve, what's going on?
who's your auctioneer this year?
I don't know, Steve. Who could it possibly be?
Maybe I'll just do that.
Well, thank you, Steve. We need everybody to participate, and we love you being our auctioneer. So thank you for volunteering. I know you bring many years of experience and fun, and we look forward to having you there. All right. After the congregational meeting this afternoon, I expect we're going to have a lot to celebrate. And we'll be doing it when? Saturday. Yay! Thank you. Celebrate good times. Come on.
And now for our postlude. And everyone feel free to dance. That's it. No dancing. All right. Patience. Many issues.
Building a community that we can grow together with.
Y'all remember it? We come from the fire, right?
We come from
Fire. No one?
living by the water, to the water, turn the world around.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
What's the name of the song?
Okay. Some things are within your control. Some things are not. We'll go ahead and just move on to the talkback section. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. So at a talkback, you are not required to stay at a talkback the way you did last week. It was great, but you do not have to stay. If you want to go get coffee, go run up and get coffee. And we failed to plan for a walking microphone. Could we get we do have a while. Zena, do you want to no, sorry. Do you want to, do you mind? We'll get better at some of the details. So today's service all about change and all about growth and all about choice and all about new normal. I'll start with any questions from you. Uh-oh.
My question is, if you're originally from Boston and you've most recently been in Florida, why is your home church in Greenville, South Carolina?
Oh, okay. I thought this was going to baseball somehow, so I was. So we lived for 16 years in South Carolina. We went from New Hampshire to Connecticut to South Carolina. Yeah, so we were there 16 years. Is that the only question from the service?
This week, got to know Emerson and Emersonian. What do you see as the big pluses for Emersonian from fresh eye perspective?
The big pluses? Well, my perception is that you really like each other. I haven't really sensed any grief amongst you. Now, I suspect that you may have been on your best behavior for my week here, but I don't think you could hide a tone of angst. And I didn't really sense any angst between you. I feel like you're all pointed generally. I use the metaphor of a ship, a sailboat. So you generally know which way you want to go, and you have an idea of how you want to get there. It's a matter of getting there now. And I think that you may feel like you have no rudder because you've been through a lot. Starting in 2016, you've had one new normal thrust upon you in a succession of new normals that you probably didn't want or certainly didn't ask for. And here you are. I mean, it's in unison talking to me. In different meetings, I've heard the same messages from different people. So I think there's a foundation of love that, the point of the sermon is a foundation of love that you are prepared to move forward. So that's a huge plus, The building, I know that the building is an issue, but it's beautiful. You have a wonderful way about you. So I think those are huge pluses. Cross, sorry. It's like I said to, I don't remember which committee I said it to, but you need more people. People are the easy part. People are really the easy part if you are the community you hold yourselves out to be. People's really the easy part. Yes, ma'am.
I definitely, a couple years ago, was panicking about how we make budget. I was
Yep.
bored, and it was a source of lots of angst. And then
Yep.
the past couple of years, it's just been I just come and relax, and I really enjoy all these people that I've known for years. It's just awesome, the people that are still here and with us, and just things are going on. And so I've just relaxed with that and said, we're going to go, we're going to go. But in the past couple of days, I've said to myself, I'll take a freak out and be like, I'm not supported. My husband's not supporting me enough. My parents live far away. I'm missing all this stuff. I need support. And I'll get really, and I will have all kinds of bad behavior, procrastination and moodiness and stuff. And what if I just did that with my life where I'm doing okay? I feed my kids, I have my daughter, and I have a house, and I have a job. So why is it I have a support system function, and I should just relax with that and say, there's beautiful things here, and I should just be into it.
I think that's what Reverend Christina was saying when she's in here somewhere. She said, our low capacity fuels are high anxiety. And that's why I address perfection. Don't aim don't aim for perfection. Good enough is literally good enough. In our lives, in our communities, in everything. It really is. It really is.
And as an Everwood trainer, I just wanted to say how beautiful is, I guess it's maybe not even a metaphor, but this idea that you describe this in-between time, between the normals. It was just very, it really touched my heart, the way you described it, because it really, I think, graphically explains at least how I feel, and I really appreciate that, the way you talked about it. It makes so much sense. Thank you.
And we fight it, don't we? We fight it. God, I just want it to be back to normal, right? Has it ever, ever, ever gone back to normal? Once. Has it ever once gone back to normal? It goes back to something. And by I'll be happy when this cough goes away. That normal I'll take back. What change I would like for you, for your congregation. So I am here to help you. If you call me, my role is to help you decide what changes you want and to help you implement those changes. Now, I will be a voice in helping you make those decisions, but my changes are not the changes. My changes for you are not the changes that matter. Your changes for you are the changes that matter, okay? So, so Epictetus, you don't know him, but Epictetus is one that says, you can't change another person. The only thing that can change you is you. So you have to change you. I will help you change you. I will try to keep you away from changes that might be problematic or try to point out, maybe you should consider this, maybe you can. But my role is to help you change you to your extent. Yeah. But I mean, I'd like to see twice as many people. That would be, right. Someone down here, Ken, Mr. Ken.
This is a tough question, and I hope it doesn't spoil the sort of friendship. What is your greatest fear in accepting a call?
Oh, my greatest fear in accepting a call. Yeah. I mean, if you'd have told me you were going to ask that, I might have thought about it a little bit before. I guess my greatest fear would be that we're not able to do what we want to do, I guess, right? But I just don't feel that that's like one of the choices. We may not, so my focus is on the process, not on the outcome. So I don't know what the outcome is. My focus is to help you make sure that your process is honest and inclusive, right? The outcome, that's really up to you. I can't imagine an outcome that would qualify as a fear. I don't know. I don't know that the word fear, I know where you're going, but I don't know that the word fear, that would be, I guess, my fear. My fear would be that we're not able to, we set a goal for ourselves and we're not able to make it there, and we have to go to goal B or goal C or goal D or whatever, wherever we end up. I guess that would be it.
This is just a small comment going back to the idea of good enough. As a recovering perfectionist, I know how
Beautiful. Love it. That's beautiful, right? Back, back. In the congregation I serve right now, if nobody brought